Just 30 seconds, please, guys. 30 seconds, please. 30 seconds for me to get ready. We are ready. Okay, today we have an important task to do today. I actually fucking forgot what we did yesterday as far as what our task is today. So, we said something, is the task today. And then I said, I'm going to forget. What is this? God damn it. I'm gonna fucking throw my phone out this window. This is fucking annoying. What the fuck? Everybody's got some dumb shit they need to say to me. But we made microchips yesterday. Look at this. Microchips. And today we actually need to put a building around this shit. And need to make the tree farm exist. So let's go ahead and fucking just demolish this shit. See how this looks. See how it looks when I put a big ass hole in it. I want to level this fucking mountain right here. What do you guys think? Okay, so the first task we're going to do is we're going to basically just tear out the walls. Which reveals on the inside that this is a lot worse than I expected. I'm not sure what I fucking expected, but apparently it's worse than what I expected. It's not that bad. It just looks stupid in there. Look, man. It's all about the game and how you play it. It's, I don't actually know about that one, man. I don't actually know about that one, man. The game. I don't know. Logic is the key to everything. If you want to become smarter, it's to become more logical. What the fuck? Oh, what? You can't just give me all the fucking cobblestone in the fucking world? Is the cobblestone not mineable or some shit? God damn it, why is nobody watching my fucking streams anymore? Somebody's gonna pay. Why the fuck you not tarnish books like that? Sun Tzu says the art of war is of vital importance to the state. just verbatim quoting the first section. What does he say? The moral compass causes people to be in complete accord with their ruler. It's like all the trees get fucking tiny in the middle. How the fuck does this shit work? Holy shit, these trees aren't even fucking growing. I reckon that we chop those trees down and they'll start growing again, and it will just instantly kill me. We're gonna get ejected into space by a fucking tree. Need more iron ore. Bam. Do 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 do. Insanity is a great thing, man. Chop. Holy shit, how many logs are in this bitch? Give me that shit. What the fuck? Holy shit, dude. What the fuck? I hear somebody's alarm, they're going to die. In 30 seconds. 30 seconds until... pain. Stop! Am I actually streaming? Or am I just streaming? It looks like I would appear to be streaming at this time. Why the fuck does nobody watch it now? There's one concurrent viewers, but it doesn't show up in my thing. Hold on. This is odd. This is odd, but hey, it's okay. We have all day. No, actually I have stuff I want to get done today. Long list of tasks and shit that I want to do today. Fuck! We're gonna destroy this mountain because I don't like it. It tarnishes my landscape. Guys, this mountain tarnishes my landscape and I can't have that. So we're gonna destroy the mountain. Oh shit. What we do need to do today, not destroying the mountain, is actually putting this thing together again and making it somehow make more sense than it did before. But that's all a matter of opinion. This made sense, right? It made sense to somebody. Somebody thought it made sense, okay? I'm just not gonna say who it was. Nobody thought it made sense, but I wanted it to make sense. And the key part of how we're going to do that and how we're going to make it work and all of that is going to come down to it's all going to come down to materials, sorting, and everything. What fucking purpose do these here serve? Oh, I see what it is. I understand. I comprehend. So this is actually meant to pretty much act as a... Oh, none of that shit's gonna stay in there, right? Oh, it's just all gonna get shot out somewhere. Ah, look at it right here. It's all of it gathers right here. Hell yeah, brother. Look at all that shit. It's getting fucking dumped out. Give me that shit. Fuck. Okay, well now we have enough. Oh my god. You know, I just realized we've died the most times within 50 meters of the soy jack at this place. Look at this. These are like my only 3 deaths. 4 deaths. And it's right next to Soycraft Industries. I think there's something wrong with that. I think there's something fucking wrong with that. This mountain is gonna be the place where I establish my new cutting machine tower for all of the wood we need. Actually, no. Fuck that shit. That's a bad idea. That idea will have us wasting so many precious pounds of resource. We do need to set up a system that allows me to cut wood down. We might just take it into space. Scratch that idea, because whoever came up with that idea is even more stupid than the other idea. To fucking build it in the mountain. Because look, here's what's gonna happen. If we're gonna go to space, right? If we're gonna go to space, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna need oxygen to grow plants. And if I'm gonna need oxygen to grow plants, you might ask, why the fuck would I even bother to do some dumb shit like bring this with me? Because it's just gonna take more time and effort to put it up, and more engineering that's too complicated than just bringing a stack of logs, right? Super simple math, guys. The easiest answer, the path of least resistance, is the path of biggest success. Why? Oh, there's a Discord. There's my Discord. Need to hop on SC again to make a monster truck. That is, bro. Dang. That would be... So I probably... Okay, yeah, back to it. So, we produce charcoal, right? We produce charcoal. Every time we run this setup, we're going to be producing charcoal from sawdust. Now, we want to take sawdust a step How do we get sawdust even? Well, sawdust we can obtain it via a simple process called sawmills. And sawmilling is the answer to the problem of sawdust. Because you use a sawmill, you're gonna make like every log into 36 sawdust, which is the equivalent of saying, hey, I'm gonna put 36 logs through this process to get charcoal and get 3 times the wood oil that way as well. In total, your wood oil production is going to be 150 times 36. And that is a lot of wood oil. Now, if you can automate that, that's even better. But I'm not going to bother with that because that is out of the scope of what I'm trying to do. You can automate it. I've almost automated the other setup. But I am not going to automate this setup probably. I think it does not need automation. Well, it could be automated, so why don't we just automate it? The automator. It'd be pretty great. It'd be pretty great to automate it. Like that we could totally automate it. We also need to figure out how to split all of the items into the, because charcoal I need to split it. And do I even have stuff here to make the splitters we need? I'm gonna say we probably don't have the stuff I need. Oh, okay. Now what do I need to actually split it? Diverter, splitter. We need a splitter, right? So the splitter, he does a very simple task: split everything in different directions. And I need that kind of capability because I'm going to be sawing. And the charcoal we produce will get split in every direction. And then it's all about figuring out how we can logistically accomplish the task of putting items in. And then also splitting shit. Splitting shit is the easy part. We're gonna do a 3-to-1, and it's gonna go to 2-to-1, and then it's gonna go to nothing after that. Isn't it just 2-to-1? Then 1-to-1. That would... No, it'd have to be 3-to-1. So for every 3, there's 1 that goes that way. And there's the next one, every 1-to-1. So I only need 2 of them in total. In totality, we only need 2. Where the fuck is my vacuum tubes? And the answer is simple. Don't bother. Where is my steel? Alright, so what we want to do is when this is, when the setup is full, we want to have it send out into the line here. And the way you can achieve that is by saying, well, if we have a comparator here, I can send a signal to here and then put it back into a hopper underneath. That allows me to create the simple setup that allows us, well, complex setup to control where and what is happening with the charcoal. So if it has more than one item inside, then it probably needs to dispose of it. So we need to do, if it has 2, then send a signal out and figure that out from there. So we're going to do that. And we're going to go ahead and hit a shape kind of like this. Destroy that. Fuck. This is going to be sad, man. It's going to be sad. But we do this, pretty much. Do that, and now it shows 1. And this gives us, if we set that to subtract, it can give you a loop. However, we do not need a loop. We just simply need a setup like this. Because now, I can have this control a torch. Right here. That allows it to send out onto the line, right? So then if that torch is off, that system shouldn't be running. Now, we do have to test some things because I'm not even sure myself whether or not this will work. But what I do know is that it should, in theory, work. Now that we have 2 of these will be the output for that line. And that will be the control of where all of the shit's going to. We're probably going to use this hopper to allow us to accomplish part of this goal. So when we have this, we'll see how this works and if it does or does not work. We need to monitor that pretty carefully because there is odds that this is not going to work the way I want it to because of how the redstone is set up. But what it should do in practice is draw items out of there. Now that that's being done, we can figure out how to split those items. And that's to say that as this goes and does this process of removing items, it's still measuring how many items are inside. So theoretically, we should just have the machine turn off once it reaches this certain threshold. Probably after one of these stacks gets removed and complete. But it also measures the values of how many is actually in there too. So once 6 and 4 are removed, it will probably just shut off the system. Never mind. Once it hits 32 or something, it will shut off the system. I mean, say if it's got like 1 in there, it's probably fueling this thing, right? So, but anyway, now it's figuring out that shit. We can figure out how to split. We want to keep this away from any of the redstone, but also make sure that it works. And so, can this just, so it can directly input into it and start, no. Never mind. But this can work, this right here. So this way you have a 3, or for every 3 that pass through this side, 1 can go through that side. So every 2 that go through this side, then it's 1 to 1 from there. That allows you to split up all of the wonderful material you have going through this setup. The next step would be to install your fireboxes, giving space between each one of these. I believe we had 1 block of space in each setup of the line before. So that's going to be run like that. Okay, That's gonna it's gonna be simple. Okay, it's gonna be simple. But all I have to do is put it into this side, and it should start splitting shit. Probably gonna say this side here is going to be directly to its like actual firebox, right? Then every other side can figure it out from there. Because they can apparently go directly into inserters, which is nice. And we'll see how that works in a second, if it does or does not actually work. But if that does work, that's going to be pretty valuable to have. Of course, we also have to keep the sawmill on top. Otherwise, it's probably going to just break shit. We also have to supply it with wood constantly now. So, once we have these all set up, we're not even going to connect this, okay? We're not going to connect it. And it still is not at... It just fully drained it out. But it's not at 0. Huh? What the fuck? Are you telling me this shit don't fucking work the way I fucking wanted it to? I'm quite confused at this time. It's like, it's almost like it made sense that way. It's almost like it made sense that way, you know what I mean? It made a lot of sense. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this. Going to do that. It made a lot of sense that way, you know what I mean? Like, it makes a lot of sense in that way. Well, the second you connect it like this, it turns... No, it can't turn off. Oh, fuck! What the fuck? Ah, perfect. What is intended to happen? What is intended to happen? That is a control circuit loop right there. How about we do it the way that makes the most sense and just do it the way we did it before, like this. Boom, see? Look at this. Shit's too easy, right? Too easy, guys. Too easy, guys. And then we can have the actual block, the torch, right? Fucking bullshit! Ah! What the kidney stones, dude? The fuck? This is some stupid shit, right? This is on stupid time now. Because it adds the signal to itself. Effectively, we locked it. And, that's fucking stupid. That's no good. Fuck. Give me this shit. So, the way we do this now, we will place down a cable, place down another cable. We need to actually somehow actuate this system. However, we could do this, right? Place down a cable. Then we go to a torch, and then we go to another cable that controls that. So now, because there's no items in, this can no longer operate. But that's not the goal. The goal is to prevent items from being put into the system. So, when I have 63 and 63 charcoal, it turns off and allows this thing to collect and output from there. That means that if this reaches a certain capacity, then it will go into these splitters. And that is a pretty simple circuit, but also kind of ugly because it destroys the... Well, this conveyor is fucking floating. Why don't we just put stone bricks here? If we're going to destroy the environment, let's just make it look nice again. Make it look nice again, guys. That's what we're going to do. But as you can see, once it reaches a certain threshold inside of here, it'll just shut off, and this won't happen anymore. The only thing we need to check is that there's no quasi-conduct into this hopper. And that would be... I don't think it can happen because this conveyor is not a solid block. Even though it would appear to be a solid block. It's, I believe, transparent. And then we can go here. And in a few seconds it should shut off. Is it going to shut off at 32? I think it would. Or no, it won't shut off until it's at 0, right? Maybe I need to update these blocks. Maybe they need block update detectors, or BUDs. Or like a loop that updates it. We're at 43. Oh, look, the signal strength is dropping, I think. This is not working the way I want it to. 28. Like, I want there to be 1 in there at all times, right? That's kind of the system I want. But logistically, or logically, it is not functioning. God dang it. Look at this. 6. How is 6 giving me a strength of 2? There's like nothing in there. Wait. It's just fucking... Huh? What? That is not supposed to happen. What's happening in this system? It's complex. Okay, I think it's complicated. But I actually don't have an idea. I have no clue what I just witnessed. And it doesn't make any sense because you put 2 in. If I now switch these constantly, does it just need to be updated constantly with the latest information? You see we're giving like a half tick pulse every time I switch it, but is that the problem? Because it just instantly locks itself almost. There's no way this quasi conducts into that maybe? But that doesn't make sense because this is its own system. And this doesn't quasi into that. There's no way that could happen. This actually is the first time that redstone isn't making sense. This is like Bug Rock Edition level redstone right here. It's just saying, oh hey, we have 2 stacks in there. This is sad, guys. This is so sad. Well, what other things can... Oh, yeah, you know what I want to do is, like, have a, like, big, giant display somewhere. I think that'd be pretty dope. But we're not gonna have... I'm never gonna make that, right? I always say, let's go ahead and build a big-ass display. Oh, look, now it's on. Now it wants to work. It doesn't want to work like this, though. We check this, and I'm looking at it. It's still not wanting to work. If I put in 11, oh, it only stops 11. What? It's still draining? That's okay. I understand what just happened. Okay, so it's not that it doesn't turn off. It's that the system wants to remain active. Look at this. So even though the torch is here, the system wants to stay active and functioning, which is kind of doesn't make any sense at all, I'm going to be honest with you. Now this could quasi into the hopper, so I don't want to do that. However, what would work is to not... This is just... How the fuck? So what we could do is just a little line of dust right here. No, that's not going to work, but... effectively, yeah, I mean, it would work if we could just get the angle correct. There's one way to do that, and that's to, I guess, not have this shit here. This gets stupidly complicated. But it's not impossible to, like... If we extend this a block... No, you can't do that either. You can't do that. Yeah, no, that won't work either. It's not that it won't work, it's that it's not going to work the way I want it to. We need a line that goes like this, but doesn't do that shit. Because that shit is... Maybe that actually will work. Let's give it a shot with some of this. As you can see, when I take out 30... If it stays on, that's going to be, like, super weird. Because it should, once it hits, like, 20, start splitting out. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That fucking works. But then this thing's broken still. It's broken. And it's still doing this shit. It's still doing the same shit. Because this factor is like the most important part of the setup. We don't want to have this, like, I don't want it flowing out. I'm gonna, we'll burn that bridge when we get there. Okay, let's focus on getting the splitters set up so we can have at least some kind of splitting capabilities. And then we can start setting up a tree farm. Because that is going to be crucial for the infrastructure and the actual sustainment of this setup. Because it's going to stop running if we don't have a setup that handles that. Now, this will just go into here, right? And then that goes into a inserter, which for some reason is like really fucked up for some reason. But that's how the first inserter should go. And it should go into a firebox. Boom. That's the first firebox. The next firebox is going to go over here. Going to build out. So we need a firebox there. Alright, this isn't too difficult. Now, what I really want to get is that wood oil setup, though. That would be actually brilliant. Well, we're halfway to the wood oil. We just need the tree farm. That's what I need. I need the tree farm, too. Because I can't run all of this without the tree farm at the same time. So then there's this setup, but then we have to have a place here that we can input one of the items, and then we have another place for the last charcoal item. That's how I'm gonna run the charcoal to each place. Or what I could do instead of that, because that's not really smart, is it? But what I could... What is this? 1 to 2? Oh, well, if I'm looking at it this way, I have 1 on this side and 2 on that side. Okay, cool. But what I could do, to be smart about it, is just do the next one right here. Instead of doing all that nonsense. And save on conveyors this way. 1 to 1. Boom. And then we have the final one, obviously, which will just come out to there. Now I can fix this real quick. Because that doesn't need to be that way, it just needs to go to here. And then from here, we're pretty much sailing. Well, if I hit Shift F9, we'll see if it's across the chunk border to add to my misery. It is kind of, but it's not really. Okay, cool. That's a great answer. Either it is or it isn't, but still, it doesn't matter. It's across the chunk border and not really at the same time. I like that answer. It's pretty good. It doesn't know what it wants to be, okay, guys? It doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know the answer. I guess this, and then I have to do that. Okay, hold on. Fucking put that in. Fucking put that shit in there. Go ahead and do that. There we go. And you're probably wondering what goes on top. Well, the most painful and deadly machine that I've ever created. That's killed me probably more times than I can count in every playthrough. The sawmill. So now we have to figure out the exporting circuitry. Because this shit's not fucking working. Because it's fucking stupid. So how do we make it smart? Well, I actually don't have the answer to that question right now. But we're working on it, and it's a work in progress, okay, guys? It's a work in progress. So if we want to have 2 redstone signals, it's probably a problem. So we send out this. It's going to go down into a block. That way there's no potential for stupid, quasi-stupidity, nonsense, baloney, idiocy, or something like that. I don't know. Don't have enough words to describe how stupid it is. And then we go like this. Then we can do a signal that goes all the way back to the start without quasi-conducting into any stupid nonsense or doing anything of the sort. This will go all the way to here. This will prevent any quasi-conducting and will control the system over there. So now, if I put in like, what, 32? It's activating the torch. It's activating the torch. Will it do it on its own? Will it understand that this item is... Ah, it didn't do it on its own still. Because for some fucking reason, I think it needs a block update detector. An update system, but it's kind of not something that is going to happen. So this is why? This is the one comparator that doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Let me guess, if I put in... See, now it wants to go down all the way to 0. It's like it's locked in a cycle of, hey, let's do it this way. Wait. No, maybe not, maybe not. It's locked in this ever-going cycle of, hey, let's be stupid as fuck. Yeah, it's not supposed to do that. So what needs to happen is when this is on, we need a system that tells it, hey, there's some bullshit going on, and for some reason my comparator doesn't want to fucking work. That happens nowhere else in this setup. Nowhere else. Only here. Why the fuck does it want to act like this? This is dumb. Right? Let me try something elsewhere, right? Okay, let me just set this up somewhere else. So if I have a conveyor exporter, right? Boom. And I have this. And I tell it to do that exact same shit it just did. Which it should be able to do it like this. This should work. Okay, now this doesn't, that won't probably work, but let's say, oh, if we have enough items, do that. It doesn't even register that there's items in there. Okay, it registers that there's items in there. But this one's working, right? Okay, let's go ahead and try it. This one works. Yeah, it works. And then when we go ahead and say, okay, get rid of those items. Does it still work? This one works. Why doesn't the other one work? What is this? Hold on 5 seconds. This is some stupid baloney redstone going on. You see, I don't fucking know what's going on with the redstone. The redstone doesn't want to behave. It doesn't want to behave properly, okay? That's the simplest explanation. Is that it just doesn't... Well, that's not the explanation. That's what it's doing. It's not behaving correctly. We have to get to the root of the problem. Which is... I believe the root of the problem is the hopper. That might not make sense, but it will in a second. I think that this hopper causes the issue in this setup because it's trying to insert into here, and we can't effectively measure necessarily from a hopper, but what we can measure is the amount that I have in here. So if I have items in there, right, I cannot measure that. Okay, never mind. So no, we cannot measure items in there. I guess what we could measure though is the amount that isn't in this, but at the same time, that measuring the hopper is the problem. You can't measure the hopper. We're not allowed to measure hoppers. So I guess instead we take out from here. We need to put into... Oh, what the fuck? This is so dumb. Doesn't matter what angle I take. Doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't want to work in this spot. Maybe if I give it a signal, like, right? And then we... it's stupid. It doesn't want to work. It doesn't want to work. I don't know what to do. Because it doesn't... It's only measuring when this moves items and not that there's being items removed from it. And we can't necessarily... Well, what we could do is just measure off of these things and just say that, oh, hey, if we have this much in here. Hey, if we have this much in here. Hey, we have... That's not going to work either. We're not going to do that. The reason I'm going to restrict that is because I'm saying we do this, we have redstone that goes, and it could potentially cause some fucked shit to happen here. We don't know that. I guess what we can do... isn't necessarily that, but is to control... Maybe there's another way. There's gotta be another way. If we had a conveyor inserter, right? That's not gonna work. If we had another hopper, maybe the hopper's the problem. It's that it's got no hopper. We could use a second hopper to control it, maybe. But the problem is that it's reading the hopper, right? The hopper being read. Like, maybe it's the way that the NTM conveyor moves items. That might be the problem. So, like, we have a lot of things that we have to think about when we're dealing with this because of how stupidly advanced this problem is. But I think this primarily will be the answer to the problem. So when we have items in there, it will register, and probably register when they're getting moved out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place a torch here, because this shit should fucking work. Because if it doesn't, it doesn't make sense that it doesn't, okay? It literally doesn't make any logical sense for this to not work. That's why this setup is acting stupid. Because it should work. It really should. It really should work. There's like no way it can't work, right? Yet it's still choosing to not work. And that is some bedrock level redstone right there. That is some fucking stupid ass redstone. No, what we need to do is have a way to get this piece of redstone dust that can power that, but we can't do anything with this, right? So we can't do anything there. What we could do is extend the line, and how I can do that is just by using a block. Now, if I do that, what I've effectively done is allowed me to extend the line, which allows me to simply put a torch here somehow and power. No, if we go down a block even further, we can place a block there, preventing any potential quasi to the hopper above it. And I mean, the torches don't quasi usually, which is just an interesting thing. But we also have to worry about this conveyor splitter doing weird shit because of this. But I'm not too concerned about that at this time. What we can do is this. Now there's no potential for it to do weird shit anyway. But then the torch is activating these because I didn't put it in correctly. If we do it this way, we can't connect it into the additional side, but, well, we saw that you can. So, we're gonna do it that, well, it's not got anything to do with the way that NTM conveyors move items. That's not the problem. I think the problem is, it's just being stupid. I think that's literally what the problem is. So now I'm gonna put in 2. It's gonna turn off that torch. And that's gonna move items into here. And we're gonna give it time. We're gonna give it some time. Once it hits a certain point, it should theoretically stop at like 24. Which it did. It stopped at 20. How the fuck is that the problem? Is the problem was this shit? That is the stupidest setup. The stupidest problem it could ever fucking have. But anyway. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe that. That's fucking stupid. The problem was that I didn't use a hopper. The hopper works. Apparently conveyor outputters. Well, maybe it... Okay, maybe it doesn't respond to redstone the same way I think it does. That might just be the problem. It could be. Could definitely be the problem. Well, we found answers to the problem. Let's get back to what we were doing. Task at hand. We are to assemble the rest of this setup, which needs a conveyor sorter grid, pretty much. How that's gonna work is how that's gonna look is gonna be simple. It's gonna be really easy and not super. It's gonna be super complicated for me to explain to you all. But hey, it's okay. We got plenty of time. We got plenty of time, guys. I can explain it. No, it's actually not hard. So the first one is going to have to handle, like, the log into wood planks. The next one has to handle sticks to sawdust. And the final one, obviously, well, there's more to it than that, but this needs to pretty much have stuff inserted. The next one needs to have stuff inserted. And we're going to have one single conveyor sorter that does every single part of that. So that means that the process is going to be absolutely stupid and kind of impossible almost. However, it's not impossible unless you say so. Unless I say it is. You don't say if it's impossible, I do. I say it's impossible, and then it's impossible. Because I haven't done it yet, so it's not impossible. So we're going to have all the inputs on this side, probably. Even though that might be fucking stupid. And all the outputs will go in the middle. And the very last output should give you completely just sawdust. So, well, I don't know what it actually... Yeah, it's just... This one does sticks, literally. Literally, it's just going to do sticks. So, in red, we're going to have a conveyor that goes down. A down conveyor. Then here we're going to have a down... not a down conveyor, but we're going to have a... Actually, yeah, we're having a down conveyor there. But all items will get routed through this, and then it will get all sent out, and all that shit will happen. And then any sawdust will come out this side of that process. So that effectively means that any and all sawdust will get put into the machine right over here. So now all I have to do is route a conveyor that goes to there. Why the fuck would you go like that, dude? That is not how we convey here. We convey like this. If you're gonna do some fucking jank shit like that, there we go. Now that gives me a nice little conveyor, and it's time to put in... So yellow is gonna be sticks, obviously. We're gonna do stones underneath of this, so that way it doesn't do some fucked shit on these ones either. This way I can control the amount of stupidity I have to deal with in this setup. There we go, that's a nice setup. And everything will go in through purple. So purple's gonna have to be wild card. Everything goes into the purple side with a core component being that. So that way all the outputs get sent up from their respective machines and then sorted via the process of sorting shit. Then that will be a wild card. And then anything blue is sawdust. Blue will be sawdust. Remember, I said this makes 36 sawdust in total. The capacity to produce sawdust is going to be very valuable. And in green, we could... green is just going to be logs, right? Green, we have logs. Then yellow, we have... This is yellow, red. Red, we have planks. And yellow, we have sticks, which will just get turned pretty much straight into sawdust. That means now all I have to do is figure out what goes in orange. I think orange is just going to be an input for like all of the wood. I gotta get up there again. We're just gonna put in a nice little stone wall right here so I can climb around and shit. I mean, we are building on a river, so like, I mean, what are we fucking doing here? And then that goes in through this port here on purple. Everything can go into that conveyor belt now. Even though there's a giant fucking buzzsaw through the conveyor belt. We wonder what happened there. Okay, and now I have my setup finished. This looked complicated, but trust me, it's really simple. All it does is take logs and makes it into shit. And for whitelist, we're going to say logs. Essentially now, all I have to do is insert logs into the setup, and it's going to run. Well, it's going to distribute everything how it needs to be distributed. So let's try it out. Let's give it a shot. I mean, I actually probably should not do that, but so now if I throw in a stack of oak logs, it will know to put the oak logs out that side. And would you look at that? Now I have my sawmill ready to go and make oak wood planks. And if I connect this setup up, now I'm distributing charcoal to that line. Now that charcoal is being distributed, we're going to see that it's going to turn on the buzzsaw. Oh shit, fuck. Don't stand on top of the fucking buzzsaw or you'll die. But then wood will come out and we'll have 6 planks coming out. Those planks will then go and start into their process. In the middle, then we have sawdust going through. We have sticks going through. Holy shit. And it produces 1 sawdust per every plank that we process. And this is beautiful. This is the most beautiful setup I think I've ever done for wood oil. I mean, it's working so well. It's working too good. But what we need to do besides that is actually get power to this thing. And I don't have any more red copper cables with me. Well, I do actually, but these aren't the ones you want. Let me go grab the ones I actually want for this setup. And we'll head over to our main base to actually craft up some of those. We should have red copper in the box and some other things alongside that, which are the key components for making that. And then the way we can make it fully autonomous is to add in solar power to it, which is something we use on the moon a lot, because it's the only power you can have on the moon, pretty much. So that's why we use it on the moon a lot, is because it's the only power you can have. Solar power. Only power for the moon power. Okay. Now with this, I'm going to process, or actually make wires. Go through, make wires. That should make like a ton of these. I don't probably need that many. We'll see how many I need. Oh yeah, I got a fuck ton. That's good. Boatload, bro. And we'll head over to the other process. I'm gonna pee. Goodbye, guys. Just give me like 30 seconds. Alright, back to it. We will start up the new process, or we'll continue with the process. We just gotta connect these cables in. How many cables did I bring with me? Did I just bring fuck. I just brought 4 stacks of cables with me. What the fuck am I doing? Insanity right there, man. It's insanity, that's what it is. Insanity looks like that. Insanity looks like this. Utmost insanity. Okay, connection right there. That will connect the Ethernet cable of energy. Or just a regular cable, right? Yeah. Yeah, regular cable, yeah. Boom. Look at that. Now it's producing charcoal again. When it's producing charcoal, it's producing wood oil. And when it's producing wood oil, it's going to start coking that shit. And when it's coking that shit, how many aromatic hydrocarbons do we have? When it's coking that shit, it's making more of these. And when this is full, we need to divert those out. And I'll figure out how to do that in a bit. So that way we can divert those to other processes. Pretty much, though, it looks like we're making what I need to be making as far as cracked oil is concerned. What the fuck? You know, if you look at any of the... If you look at that power pylon, you can see it's... oh, everything you look through this thing, it looks weird. Huh. Interesting. Only the HBM machines you can see through it. Now we're running this very fast. I don't think one of these can keep up with this, right? Oh, what the fuck? It's out of steam, that's why. Means we just need to go to sleep and then we'll keep up with it. Don't step on the fucking sawmill or you'll die. Do we want the most efficient sawmill or do we want one that works? That's a good question, but that's a question for another time. Ugh. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put in a safety stop, so that way if I am a fucking idiot and do step on that shit, it can't do shit to me. Except for there. Oh. For the most part, you just want that, and then if we have any steel grating, we can apply it to the other thing to make it so I don't die there either. I mean, if we have any extra, it'd be nice. Oh, I do. Good. Because that's going to actually allow me to not die. You could make it look cool, or you can make it safe and not look cool. This shit is safe. As long as I am careful, I will never ever be able to touch the blade in some weird, obscure way that somehow. And what we'll do is, when these become full, I guess what I want to do is like actually split out the product of these, so when it is full, I can just take it out of there. Wonder if we can read those with right. Because I could use all this charcoal in a different way, right? This means it will always have exactly what it needs. If it needs one of these, it's got it. It's on standby to produce more of them. It just can't. So what is this missing to make more circuits, right? Check the status of those circuits. Status green, right? It's missing copper wires. That's what it is missing. So the next tasks we have are to get a source that will supply this with pretty much unlimited copper wires, pretty much wood oil after that. So Shift F9, F9, and we can see that this chunk right here would make the perfect chunk for me to set up a wood oil setup, because it's a little bit flatter, and also I don't really mind taking out the mountain anyway. The mountain is a disgrace. It's gonna be terrible to destroy it, but it's okay. We can destroy it. I can destroy that shit. Just gonna set up some chests here. We're gonna make this a massive factory, pretty much. This is a huge factory, and when we go to redo how that's set up, that's gonna be important. It's gonna be important for us to do, because this is not working as it needs to be. So that means that it's going to be a little bit of work to get it to be how I want it to be, and that's important. We're not going to use stone bricks for this section of the factory, but essentially what we need to do is just flatten this. And then we build a section above it for my tree farm. We can copy the dimensions of the other tree farm, because I left the dirt intact for the most part. But it wasn't a bad shape anyway. It's literally the perfect tree farm as far as the shape goes. And then as far as productivity, it all comes down to keeping everything as contained as you can. Like, you can control whether the saplings and shit and all that shit lands in the center, and that's easy to do. Like, we don't need to have shit going wherever the fuck it wants to go, okay? So we need to have that controlled. That's the biggest takeaway from the previous design, is how we had it controlled. It was all controlled perfectly. Alright, so what we're going to do is say that one side of this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is a 4 section, I believe. No, it'd be a 5. That'd be like a, yeah, it'd be 5. No, it'd be 4. We'll just copy this shape, and then we'll do a couple blocks to copy it. So that shape's the easiest. You do a 1, and then you do 2 30s. And that all has to go into the top of that setup there. So keep that in mind as we are building this. 1. Then we have our 2 3s. Boom. Then we do 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this actually the shape it needs to be? Because this only allows... Hold on. It looks like it should be the fucking shape. I mean, if we look at it. 1, 2, 3. How is there only... Yeah, there's 3 there. Okay, it is 5. So we're just gonna have to do 5 on every side. It's pretty much how it's going to have to be. That means this now gets pushed back a block. This is one place you don't want to actually enter as well, because when you enter this setup, it's no good for your health. You'll get chopped in half. And also, are these all going to be fans? It's going to change how I set it up too. We should lay out the fans first, and then figure things out from there. I believe everything was set up to meet in the middle. So it's kind of a meet in the middle system or something like that. But there's 1,000 ways you do this setup, and they all use fans, essentially. If you don't use fans, you're doing something wrong in this setup. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't get it centered in the chunk even. Because the second you have 5 on one side, you have 4 on the other. think that gets, yeah, it gets me to 5. So I just have to shift it a block on the other side. Shift the block over. 1, 2, oh shit. 3, 4. God dang it. It is still too big for one chunk. How the fuck did I do this over there? Yeah, it's just gonna have to be larger than a chunk. This is stupid. I don't want it to be larger than a chunk. Let's just set it up as a chunk tree farm. It's not a bad idea. You could definitely do that. It just changes how everything's going to be set up, but effectively what we need to do is the same thing you would do in a circular one. Even though this is going to have less control over the setup, it's still going to work. Because it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure it vein mines trees. I'm pretty sure that's what it does. Pretty sure you can just vein mine the tree in the setup. Now I have to set up the exact same thing on this side. This way I can blow all of the items into the hole in the center, which is how it's gonna run. One other thing that's going to be like stupid to do is going to be the actual piping of wood oil into this setup, because it does need wood oil to run. So that is one aspect that I don't like, is the wood oil aspect, but it will run off of wood oil, so that's all that matters. Once it gets to the middle, we're gonna have a couple of these things set up so it can push it inwards even more. You know what I mean? Yeah. More wood go into center. Do we have more? I think we have 2 of these available for us, which would be probably too much wood production. I don't think we really need that much wood production. I think we're probably good as is. But this should do the trick. Yeah, it's gonna chop somebody in half on the outside. Yeah, fuck that. This shit is fucking sentient. Oh, now we have aromatic hydrocarbon production clogged. Or usage is clogged. What can this even run off of? But it can run off of aromatic hydrocarbons. Hold on 1 second. I reckon you could probably set it to run off of aromatic hydrocarbons. Well, we do need those for something. So let's not just waste them right away. Yeah, I'll get to it in a second. Okay. What we are doing with this is do it the way that it was done before, because it's the proper way to do it. That's what I'm gonna do. So we're just gonna go ahead and hit F9. We're gonna figure out what exactly we did the first way. We're gonna provide external control. No, that's fucking dumb. I'd have to run around the entire outside to get an external control system for this thing. Because if you want to do maintenance on this thing, you have to have the fans off. There's no way you could run it with the fans on, because you're gonna get blown into a fucking saw blade and die. So, yes, that is all fun and games, but this setup is stupid as shit. I just hate that you can't, because if I do it as a chunk, you're not getting the full yield. And if I don't get the full yield, I'm a sad guy. So I don't want to be a sad guy. I want to be a winning guy. I want to be winning. If you're not a winner, you're sad. Got it? So yeah. Other news, I have learned all kinds of things. What the fuck? What kind of information is this? The pianist. This shit's easy peasy. All you gotta do is connect a fucking cable to a lever, and then you have, however far that's gonna push items. Now, we have to set up the other hemisphere of this, because it's a hemispherical design, it's built in circles. Yes. But, here's one issue that you might notice already. So here's an issue that I'm gonna have with this setup, is that because there is no wall above these directly, it can do whatever the fuck it wants. And I don't want that. I want to have complete control over where the fuck my shit's going and what it's doing. So now, I can do that in this setup. I now have complete control over it, which is important when you're producing something as valuable as wood. No, I'm joking. But basically, if you want to produce wood and get your full yield out of it, you need to control how the trees grow, control how you're sending out all of this, because all of this is what controls where the wood is going. Because if I have blocks here, then no trees can fall outside of this. This is the limiting factor for the trees, is this line of redstone and everything. This line of redstone would allow you to have logs get caught on top of the fans, and we don't want that. Otherwise you have to add more fans, and it just becomes a mess. Either you build a temple of fans, or you end up doing what I'm doing, where you can just build a circle. And with that circle, you get the capability to prevent any items from escaping the wall. The next important piece of the setup is going to be controlling the height of the trees, but that doesn't really matter anymore because we're not doing multiple levels. It would matter more if I was running for multiple levels, and I'm not. It's that simple. So if we're not running multiple levels, we may as well not have it set up like that. Now, what are the dimensions of... So then you'd have 3 blocks here, right? Alright, so we're just going to do 1, 2, 3. Then that's the middle of this side right here. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. 1, and then 3 more. And then we're on the other side of the setup, which now means that it's time to start doing fans again. Correct? Yes? No? Maybe so. Because it needs 5 fans again. But this just doesn't seem like a circle. It seems more like some weird hexagon. Hexametron right here, bro. But it's fine. That works. We can work with a hexagon, right? It's like any other shape that has multiple sides. A polygon or something like that. Multifaceted polygon, guys. What the fuck is this doing to my cobblestone, dude? Destroyed it. Are you fucking kidding me? Who the fuck put this water in my tree farm? Some asshole did, that's what I'm saying. Some asshole did. Get me out of this fucking water, bro. What the fuck? Look at this shit. This is really fucking stupid. This is super annoying. Now you're probably wondering why the fuck this is annoying if you don't know. It's just because water is a fucking dickhead, and it likes to fuck up whatever you do. Don't trust water. Water is your enemy. Water games, bro. Water game scandal, bro. Nice, and we just set that up. Chop that down. Chop that down. Just keep chopping it down until we have everything the way it needs to be, and then we can just flatten the fucking mountain. Or build a giant face in it, which would probably be interesting, but you think I'm gonna be that good at building? Fuck no. No. Building something that organic? No. Please. Respectfully, no, please. And then we also have to connect in some redstone dust to all this. That will push everything into the middle. Obviously, if we vein mine the trees, that's another thing. Is that if the thing has a vein miner, it just vein mines every fucking tree in existence. That's dope as fuck. Saves me a lot of time. Pretty sure it does vein mine. I don't remember if it does or does not vein mine the trees. Pretty sure it does. By last I checked. Which was when we set this up the first time. And we just saved ourselves from having 4 fans. Yeah, and this whole setup is the same as it needs to be. From having 4 levers in this setup. That's amazing, though, because I don't want to have 4 levers. That would be absolutely stupid to build. There we go, we have one side fully wired and ready to go. It's time to wire the next side. And I believe we actually still need some levers in the middle. Now I just realized that when these meet in the center, what happens is they cut each other off. They stop working, so it's gonna need capabilities to push into the middle. One, two, three, 4. Boom, 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 boom. Holy shit. Need more redstone, guys. Need more redstone on the double now. Let's see. We actually might have redstone. Probably don't. No, we definitely don't. Holy shit. We need more redstone, but we don't have any. Here. We just gotta go back to grab it. It's not far. That does the job very well. Because now I don't even have a way of, well, it meets in the middle pretty much everywhere in here, right? You can effectively stand in the middle of this. Okay, you can't go into this block because it slows down, but you can... Can't go into that block either. Not this block. Well, by that standard, it effectively does the job I was looking for it to do. And it uses less fans now. Just grab some redstone from somewhere else, guys. Just grab some redstone from somewhere else. It's really easy. Wood oil to oil is like one of the worst oil setups, but it somehow still works. And I want to figure out how we could make it better, like have more wood oil production. If you were to do wood oil or to oil, and you had it set up correctly, I theorize that you could produce as much oil with half the cost. Actually, less cost than any fracking tower could provide you. Like, the cost is so much lower, and the entry level is only a catalytic cracking tower and a coker unit away. Like, it's... I mean, it's the same entry level, but still, the oil, you could do so much with it. Because if you can use alkylation units as well, that gives you a third dimension of processing, which you don't get anywhere else in any of the systems. Holy shit, it's disposed of all my fucking garbage. God dang it. At least we have redstone now. I should have integrated it into my systems. I mean, we're making good progress. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Here's the plan, guys. We're gonna take this redstone, we're gonna slap it down. Gonna establish the next phase of wood oil. Which is now done. That part's done. It'd be fucking awesome to bring this to the moon. Okay. What we're gonna do is quite simple. Gonna chop all these down. Cut a hole in the setup and then establish one final. It doesn't need a final one. It just needs one right in the middle. Oh, actually it does need a final one. Never mind. Yeah, scratch that idea, guys. We need one there. Boom. And that should do the trick. There we go. And now I have access to it if I need to ever access this shit. But I don't intend to ever access it. This side will be my access side. So then if I need access, I can just get inside. Nice. Pretty dope, huh? Then we just gotta carve the mountain. So let's go ahead and disable all of these. And all of these. And that one too. So we can go ahead and chop the entire mountain in half. In this setup. So we set up one here, boom. And another one right here, boom. But we're gonna go ahead and, before we do anything with that, we're gonna chop down this mountain. Then we're gonna go ahead and install an actual some of the key things I need in this, which are, I don't even remember. Destroy that, destroy that, destroy that. Go here, destroy all of this. Vaporize. Vaporize. And then we have to put in dirt as well. It doesn't need a roof above it, so long as you have everything on the inside tall enough that nothing can grow above it and potentially get stuck on top of it. Which is kind of easier said than done, because it's not easy to do. But here we go, just destroy this, and then we'll set up the gigantic circle that needs to exist here. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I want daylight in there. Because daylight kind of performs better than regular light, you know? Daylight isn't... Well, daylight is literally the perfect amount of light for these trees to grow, so... Does that mean it is 15 out of 15? No, but it is good enough to get trees to grow in it, so we might as well leave it in there if we can get daylight in. It'd be amazing. Okay, and that gives me this. I can just cut that down. Then that one there. Cool, and I have effectively built my wall from the mountain. We're gonna have the outside wall probably be about the same height as that, so as to not allow people to see in, but also to, it should be tall enough, keywords, it should be tall enough to actually do what I need it to do. And then it's time to carve out more of the mountain. Okay. This is literally gonna work. It's not. It should work. It's gonna work. Okay. All we have to do is install a wall, and the floor, and then a collection system. So all of that is great. It's all gonna work out. And it's all gonna be pretty easy to do. The collection system is probably the easiest part of it because all you need to do for that is have torches, and I have torches, so it looks like it's gonna be easy peasy. Now, when we make this look better later on down the road, which we will do probably, I hope. it could probably happen, or it could definitely not happen. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It needs to look pretty. I want it to look pretty. But we're just gonna go around. We're gonna fill it in with stone until we have it all one height. And then we build a ring around it. And whatever that height is, it's going to have to be something good. Good height for this entire thing to be. We also need to add lights in there, or somehow get lights for it. And what I want to do, I think as far as lighting goes, it probably makes sense to use floodlights to actually try to do this. Why do I say that? Because if you use a floodlight, you could probably project light right into the machine, or right into the setup, and it's really probably not going to be that hard. To grow stuff, it won't get in the way of anything. It probably can be well out of the way of everything inside and still allow stuff to grow. So that's why I would like to do that. But it doesn't necessarily have to use that. That's just what I would prefer to do, is use some kind of floodlight to grow them. At nighttime and during daytime, obviously, doesn't matter. You don't need light at daytime. Daytime is fine. Or we just put a ring of lighting blocks around the outside. Or glowing stuff around the outside. It could work. If we had glowstone, we could do that really easily. So if we have glowstone, pretty easy to set that up. The problem would be that only the outside ones can grow. And I don't like that idea either, per se. Alright, cool. That's probably tall enough that it will keep most debris inside, although I'm pretty sure they can probably grow taller than that. However, it's tall enough that we can keep most debris inside. It's going to be good for me to install my automatic buzzsaw, which goes directly in the middle of these. That is where that's going to go. It's going to have underneath of it, a system that collects every single thing. This system is universal to the previous system. It's the same exact thing we did in the original setup for this. It's going to be as simple as we have a minecart that runs around on the bottom, which outputs into a hopper, or something along those lines. I believe it outputs into a hopper. I don't actually remember. It doesn't matter either way. We also need redstone torches, which I don't think I have any of them right here. And rails. Do I have rails? How do I not have rails? Ah, there we go. We also, yeah, the redstone torches are still here, so it's all good. But what needs to really happen is the lighting. Lighting needs to be a huge thing that I deal with. Like, I need to deal with that sooner rather than later, because that's literally the next step. Next step is lighting everything. Okay, we're gonna take this, these, just gonna run around and grab whatever we can find that is useful. I'm not sure what we're gonna do for lighting. We could do the glowstone, or we could do another setup. I think glowstone makes the most sense because you can put it in the wall, you don't need to power it, and it works constantly. Plus, it provides you with the most amount of light compared to torches, I'm pretty sure. It's probably the same, actually. But we need something. And that's the something I think I need. This is that. Okay, so... What's left is we connect this hopper into this. We're gonna need to fill in the floor too. God dang it. Basically all that needs to go around the pipe in the center for wood oil, and then collection happens here from a hopper. God dang it. I thought I had that shit fucking turned off. Basically, collection's gonna happen there through a hopper, and what happens on these ones is that you need to have torches under the rails. Now that means that you have to pipe in wood oil pretty low under the ground. However, everything is really simple and don't worry about it. Okay? Conveyors, not a problem. Wood oil, not a problem. This is an easy setup to accomplish. Give me some iron, give me some wood. We can do this easily. 1, 2. And we are now making logs into chests. Make a hopper. And then after everything gets collected, it's sent on a conveyor belt anyway. It's like literally the simplest step of it. Send everything to conveyor. It is easy. Now that means the pipe is what I have to do next. Yeah, but it doesn't want to go in because of that. The fuck? Stop stealing my shit, Mr. Hopper Minecart. What the fuck? God dang it! I keep fucking it up. This piece goes in that piece. Don't screw it up this time, okay? It should just run. Alright, now we have our wonderful, wonderful, almost looking like a fusion reactor type of setup. It's so complicated, guys. Oh my god, it's so complicated, guys. Too complicated. But these basically have to go to the same place. So we have logs going to the same place as the wood oil. But the wood oil is being sent to here instead of not going to here. We're going to AoE 1 all the way down this tube. And I say tube, it's literally just going to be a tunnel. It's not a tube yet, but it's going to be. Once I reach here, we will see what is out. Okay. That's my pipe for everything. So surplus wood oil pretty much needs to be sent into this setup here. That is why this pipe exists. And the other thing is going to be the conveyor. It's going to transport items through and up. So we'll have both of these set up. I wish the pipes you could do the same. Dude, you know how awesome it'd be if you could do the same thing with pipes that you do with conveyors? Like, it'd be absolutely dope. It'd be impressive. I'd be impressed. It's something I would not expect. It'd be amazing. We're gonna lay in some bricks there to make it look nice and pretty. Nice and pretty. Cool. More bricks, guys. More bricks, more good. Alright, and then we have the conveyor belt that comes out the same side. That is wood oil setup completed. Well, it's 90% of the wood oil setup completed. Because now I need to actually send items to there. And I'm down to one conveyor belt. Who would have guessed? Not me. Well, I figured I'd run out of conveyor belts, but don't worry, because I have a plan. We're gonna vein mine more conveyors out of this setup here. Because I know there's a bunch of conveyors just lying around. Like, look at this. Fucking bullshit conveyors. They're just lying around. What the fuck? Get in my inventory. Get in my inventory. What are these? Holy shit. I'm not touching those or we'll have an inventory explosion. Okay, now we've successfully moved one wood oil setup to do better things. It's about to have a better life doing wood oil here. If only these conveyors would do things in ways that look correct. God dang it. I'm asking too much of HBM when I ask that. What the fuck? There we go. Now the conveyors are looking nice. It just needs to get wood oil now. Where the fuck is my fluid ID? We're not going to set it with wood oil until the floor is actually fully done. Because the second you put wood oil in there is the second that the saw turns on. Everybody's going to die when the saw turns on. It's that simple. The second the saw turns on, you don't want to be inside. Don't be inside when the saw is on. Oh, holy shit. And then we also have to turn on all of those fans, place in all of the trees, which I think we're going to go in order. Place the trees. We're going to turn on the fans, and then we're going to go get wood oil. I think that's the plan. But I could be wrong. And one other thing that needs to happen is that I need to have at least 2 blocks underneath every, or at least cobblestone under every block of dirt that there is. Another wonderful addition to the list of things that needs to happen. Why does this need to happen? Because if we're doing oil fracking, not too far away, we might just have problems, right? I don't actually know if we have problems. I can actually check the map and see the distance of effects. Oh, fuck. Yeah, we'll figure it out. It could be bad, it could be good. I don't fucking know. I actually don't think it's running. I think the actual fracking tower is not running. So, like, I'm pretty sure we're good as far as our oil production is just shut off. But that means I need to put a roof on this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. We could do glass, just a glass roof. It's not hard. I could get glass easily. Go to the desert. Fuck that shit. Last time we died. Well, the time before last time. Now we can't die. We have HEV. So, like, even if we flew into, like, one of those radioactive spots, we're not dying. Now, if I need to access this, I'll just access it through the roof, because there is no roof. And I'm pretty sure we'll be fine to just have this set up as is, without even worrying about any of these dirt becoming oily dirt or some shit. If they did, it won't be a problem anyway. Won't be a problem anyway, guys. Just write it off as not a problem. It's not a problem, guys. It's meant to be. Okay, more dirt, please. More dirt time now. The good news is, all of the trees I have, I can just quite literally process them in here. I have enough saplings, I can fill it up instantly. So we can get those started. Then we can put on the glass roof and get that started, and then we're done. Alright, let's get that roof put on. So trees. The only place you can't put a tree is right here. It's the one place I can't actually install a tree at. Because there is a lever there. Or we could just install a block of redstone and have it always be on, but I'm not able to install a lever there. Holy shit, I might be out of tree saplings pretty fast on this one. Yeah, I'm out of saplings. There's no doubt about it. Also, you probably can't chop them when they're super close together. Or super close to the thing. Yeah, it definitely vein mines, by the way. I'm certain that this thing will vein mine, so even if I built it like 10 kilometers long, there's enough space that you could probably still chop trees at 10 kilometers distance. Alright, now if I grab out some more of these, probably like 3 stacks. I reckon it takes like 4 more stacks after that. So we probably need 4 stacks, but I have 3. Because it makes no sense to bring more than you probably fucking need. Whee! Nice. Holy shit, I held shift and the occasionally heavy boots took away all my fall damage, I think. Because I should have took some fall damage at least. Good news is I can install torches where all of those are. So now I have a new task to install torches. Other than that, it's pretty much just easy going from here. 2 stacks of trees left. Oh, it took 4 stacks of trees to fill this thing in. And it's already producing, guys, this is not good. It's already producing saplings and trees. Trees to saplings is already underway. What the fuck? Give me those torches, right? We have 2 torches, apparently. Only 2. Ah, there's 54 torches right there. Boom. 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 Turn that on. And then turn this one on. I'm getting out of here before I... Everything is on, right? Yes. It's time to activate the machine. Let's go ahead and hook up the wood oil connection. Wood oil is now connected. Dope. Dopamine. Now if I go up to the top, we can look inside and see that it is going to do what it is meant to do. Chop trees and produce so many logs. Right? I'm just gonna leave it here and you can just watch as it produces logs. That runs and sends logs to this guy over here. Remember, we gotta put a roof on this thing though too. So like I can't just leave it exposed to the fracking tower, which is gonna melt every tree in there. Oh, and there's one other thing I forgot to mention. Is that this doesn't just produce logs, it's going to actually have a problem where it's going to try to send in wildcard items. And that's okay, because I can sort out wildcard items. Right here. So we're just going to destroy that before anything stupid and dumb can happen. Now, for blue, it's going to be a wild card. For the bottom one, it's going to be a wild card. And for green, it's going to be... No. And for purple, orange. Orange. Orange is a wild card. Or it's a whitelist. Orange will be for logs. Everything else will go into storage. So now it actually will work. Whitelist logs, so now they're all going to go out the top. And then everything else can go into a storage bin. Storage center, pretty much. And that gives you a supply of food, golden apples, whatever heck you want to do with those apples. It's pretty nice. You could make Sherbinium apples if you really wanted to, if you're a weirdo. Now, the real issue is getting rid of this stuff, because this is kind of useless when you have so much aromatic hydrocarbons. And aromatic hydrocarbons are my current problem, so we're going to have to figure out how I get rid of those. Aromatic hydrocarbons can be processed through alkylation with high-performance solvent into BTX. Not something I need, but BTX can get you back to high-performance solvent. So, we'll take a look at this process. I believe you can get back to that. So BTX gives you aromatic hydrocarbons and petroleum gas, but gives you reformic gas and chloromethane. If you want to get back to high performance solvent from BTX, you need to make it into reformic gas, which can then be made into that high performance solvent. What? Dichloromethane geyser. Well, that's... But, other words, you take syngas and reformic gas and you can make it together. So hold on a second. We need 2 alkylation units for that setup. And I'll be back shortly. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. When you do this process with aromatic hydrocarbons, you take them and you mix them with high-performance solvent. It takes 400 high-performance solvent to make, and 1,000 aromatic hydrocarbons to make 1,000 BTX and 100 chlorine. You take BTX, you can then send it off to reformic gas, which gives you 1,000 for 600 copper tetrachloride. As you can see, this process, in theory, needs to be modeled. It's all... I can't actually see how that model is going to work. However, what I can tell you is that it does work in some capacity the way I think it does, to give you pretty much an unlimited supply of stuff. We need a new Chernobyl tester world. New Chernobyl tester world 1984, right? 1986. We'll call this one Dyatlov. Dyatlov world, yes. Creative, more world options, world type super 5. Create new world. And what we're going to do is model out what I know is going to happen. So, we have alkylation units. We're going to need 2 of these. 1 here and 1 here. Now, it doesn't matter if I don't get my chlorine gas back, because all that matters is that I have fluid ID. Okay, cool. So we're going to basically need aromatic hydrocarbons to be cracked in this one. So he's going to need high-performance solvent and BTX. Or high-performance solvent and aromatic hydrocarbons. And this guy is going to need to run for BTX. So it makes sense to put them back to back, by the way. Not to set them up that way, because it will make things a whole lot more difficult, right? So we're going to do BTX Boom. So now it's time to model out how that works, right? So you have your BTX takes carbon tetrachloride, reformant gas, and chloromethane. Chloromethane can then be turned, I believe chloromethane can be turned into dichloromethane, which is used as solvent. Show me the recipe. It gives you unsaturated hydrocarbons and chlorine gas. That doesn't help you though when it comes to actually making the next thing. I guess the goal is to get to that. So we need 3. Because it makes chloromethane. Now we do chloromethane to unsaturated hydrocarbons, and that gives you, and chlorine gas as an output, and this one gives you, cool, okay. So now from there, from chloromethane, which gives you unsaturated hydrocarbons, through alkylation, we now have this, which I need to figure out how to dispose of that. You can turn it into aromatic hydrocarbons. If you have chloroethane, you can turn it into chlorinated benzenes and chloromethane. Not really something I need. What I want to be able to do is turn it right back into that. The question is, how do I achieve that goal? Phosgene. Which, we're looking at phosgene, you get a interesting material capable of potentially producing HP solvent, right? Because you can take these. No. Okay. So we have BTX though, or we have reformant gas still, and that gets you a lot because then you have this chloromethane. We basically just turned all of our aromatic hydrocarbons in this process into, okay. So then we need to just look at HP solvent, because that is where it all begins, is solvent. So in HP solvent, you take reformant gas and chlorine gas and put them together inside of a mixer. Cool. So let's get a mixer then. Let's get a duct. So now what happens is all of the chlorine gas we produce here all goes back to this. So we have our chlorine gas, and then we have our HP solvents, because now we've produced reformant in here. So that's reformant and chlorine gas, and in addition to that, you also get chlorine gas here. So that pipe runs under the ground, and it's going to take chlorine gas to there as well. Set to chlorine gas, and now we have a pipe that takes chlorine gas in both ways. However, does any part of this process include using, well, now it takes HP solvent and puts it back into this part of the process. High performance solvent goes back to the start, which pretty much means now all you've done is converted every aromatic hydrocarbon you have into unsaturated hydrocarbons, which is way better, honestly, than for energy production. At least it's way better than the other way. But what's the fucking point in doing this? It doesn't get me anywhere. This really doesn't get you very far, unless you were to keep going and try to take the unsaturated hydrocarbons and turn them into the next thing, which I don't know the fuck that's gonna be. What we can find out pretty easily, chlorine isn't expensive. Chlorine is pretty cheap, actually. So what we're gonna do to test it out is we're gonna have a infinite source of Barrel. Infinite source of both, or one of the materials, and we're going to have a little bit in return of solvent. So we're going to do a barrel here. It's going to do HP solvent. Cool. And then we're going to need HP solvent in return. Hi. Just go ahead and universal fluid tank, and we're going to look at which one I think is probably HP solvent. That's cool. Right there. There it is. Fuck. Ah, there we go. We now have HP solvent. We're going to put in 1 tank of this. So now we can see how it works with some HP solvents. And then we can set this to aromatic hydrocarbons. So then we have an unlimited source of aromatic hydrocarbons being produced, right? We'll figure out how that works. And then we need cables. And since I would like to benchmark the amount of energy we're actually producing this way, I think it's important that we... What the fuck is this cable? Give me the real fucking cables, dude. I think it's important that we, like, actually run this off of some kind of actual energy production, probably solar panels. So we'll see how it actually holds up against some real energy production, not just, oh, here's an infinite power source or some shit. So you can see how this would be on like other planets, or how it works in principle and concept. And it just does its process through there, which gets you BTX. And once you have enough BTX, you need carbon tetrachloride, which is the next thing we need to make. So carbon... I didn't even realize that it needed carbon tetrachloride because I'm a fucking idiot. So carbon tetrachloride is made in some capacity. Oh, it's not even real. It just doesn't exist, does it? But how do you get it? This is, you can only get it from buckets. So this means that there's no actual process you can do to make this into anything more useful. Because now we just have BTX, and that is not what I need at all. In any capacity do I need BTX. So what can I do with BTX? So BTX actually doesn't have to go through that process. It can go through a separate process that gets you to the same end point, probably. So BTX actually is able to be hydrotreated for... is able to be alkylated, or I believe, well, you can coke it, that's awesome. That's not useful to me. It might be useful to somebody. You're supposed to be able to fraction this into reformer gas. Like, why the fuck are you alkylating it into that? This is not how it works in HBM usually. Well, there's only one way to do it, and that's through this process, using something you can't even obtain any quantity of by production methods, even though in real life, carbon tetrachloride is mass-produced on planet Earth. So it's something you need to go to space for, but that doesn't make fucking sense. So let's take a look at the starting point. Maybe the starting point is the problem, because aromatic hydrocarbons have 1,000 ways to go become other shit. It's the starting point, I believe, in this case. You can mix them with naphtha into solvent, but that's the problem, is getting naphtha. How do you get naphtha from? And it's something I really can't actually get in any quantity. So if we look, you can crack industrial oil for naphtha, or do radiolysis, or reforming heating oil can get you 500 naphtha, 150 petroleum gas, and some hydrogen, which you can make petroleum gas into naphtha as well. So that would probably be the way to go, is reform heating oil to get naphtha, and then we can just make solvent. But we don't make enough heating oil to do that, unless we have enough tar to do that. It's just a separate process we could do. Really, there's no usage to this. There's no way to dispose of these in a way that's going to be meaningful or effective. It's going to just end up being, oh, let's get rid of all of this. And there's no benefit of that. I think, though, what you can do is mix it with, well, didn't I have one setup where I turned it into unsaturated hydrocarbons? Like, what? No, I think I turned unsaturated hydrocarbons into aromatic ones. Aromatic hydrocarbons are fucking useless. Or I don't understand how to use them. Obviously, I need to get naphtha. That's what I need. And there's various methods to get them. Or we could just import the aromatic hydrocarbons into the setup. What about, so what if we did get carbon tetrachloride? That would unlock the rest of the process. Well, it's such an endgame process anyway, because you have to go to that one planet with the PVC trees, which is weird. I guess there's no good way to dispose of it unless you... Can you coke this? You can't. Can you? Biogas. That's an interesting process I've never actually looked at. I think I've looked at it one time. But that's not hard to make biogas, and this is literally just if I were to shred anything up. I could do that too. Wait a second. Hold on. That's not that recipe is you know what this recipe actually is really to get you. If you look at this, 20 to 20 is like the ratio that you need to produce. Literally, we could be producing bakelite from plants. You can produce bakelite from plants. What the fuck? How did I not know this until today? This is fucking dope. But, anyway. I think that's all I have for today. We don't really have the ability to do what I need to do. So, I'm done for today.